Hey guys, I just moved into a brand new home in the Fitler Square neighborhood of Center City, Philadelphia. And hey, I only moved 5 blocks, but I know that most of you are moving across state lines, and moving can be a massive hassle. However, it doesn't have to be that bad, especially if you work with the right service providers. So I thought I would walk you through my experience, my move, and maybe your move won't be as stressful. This will be a mini series on my channel, and honestly, I'm not sure how many videos I'll make, but I hope that they all help you with your move. And hey, if you're not ready for a move and you're just checking out my channel because you're thinking about potentially moving to the Philly area, as always, I hope this channel helps you if you're looking to relocate to the Center City, Philly area. I would love to help you out on your journey, so don't hesitate to reach out. You can shoot me an email. Of course, subscribe to the channel, follow the journey of what I'm talking about, and I hope this helps you explore the city and get to know Philly a bit more. So feel free to watch these videos anyway, even though we'll be talking about particular service providers. Hopefully it gives you a little bit of a window into maybe how things operate here in Philadelphia. I actually get a lot of clients that tell me things like, hey, I'm in this particular area of the country, and it's really hard to get contractors, for example, to work on their property or whatever the particular industry is. I know other places in the US or beyond struggle significantly to get good work, good help, right, for whatever you're doing. And it's not that way in Philly. Philly certainly has, your fair share of bad contractors or bad service providers. But in my experience and most of my clients' experiences, we have a lot of service providers at relatively, decent prices. Of course, depending on what you're looking for, the price might elevate significantly. But in my opinion, I don't think you'll have that problem here if you're wondering if that's an issue in Philadelphia. But anyway, let's get into it. In this video, we're gonna start by talking about hiring a designer or interior stylist to help lay out the furniture and plan the decor of your home. Now for me, I hired Luis. He's actually a New York transplant to Philadelphia about, I believe about 8 years ago at this point. It's an interesting story. And with, a lot of my clients actually are moving from New York these days. And if that's you watching this video and you're wondering if Philly is right for you, just check out more of my videos. I have a lot of interviews with people from New York or just different particular videos talking about a lot of New Yorkers moving here and the benefits that they experience. But a lot of New Yorkers are moving here. I've helped, I think, at least like 5 in the last few months, and I have about 15 to 20 maybe, somewhere in that range on my radar that are looking to move to Philly within the next 6 to 12 months. And it's very common for folks to have that sentiment once they realize how much of a value Philadelphia offers with not necessarily giving up much amenities or experience. Now, obviously, we're not New York City, but we're a very good alternative. Anyway, Luis is a New York City transplant. He's actually originally from Mexico City. He's got a pretty fascinating story, and I'll tell you more about that at the end of this video. But he's got a company called Martimo Designs, and I worked with him to style my home. Did a great job, and this video is really going to be talking about that experience, so you can see it in action and hear a little bit about how I experienced the process with working with Luis and the finished product. Obviously, you'll get to see everything. So stay tuned for that. We'll get into all of that very soon. So the first thing that we did was we walked through my home. So whenever you work with a designer, they typically will obviously come out to your house, right? That's ideal if they can. If for whatever reason they can't, you're not in town, or whatever the particular issue is, the next best step would be obviously photos online, a listing or the floor plans, videos, what have you, right? But our experience was we walked through the house, I showed him the property, he asked me a lot of questions, what we're looking for as far as styling, what our preferences are, colors, do we have kids, pets, all of those types of questions. And it was a pretty thorough and involved process. As you can see here, we're walking through my home and we're talking about a lot of different things. And really his goal is just to understand, as every designer's would be, what we're looking for, what would make us feel at home as opposed to someone else's home. That's one of the things I really appreciate about Luis. He wanted us to feel comfortable in the space. Not that it's his space he's designing for us, but it's our space that he's designing for us. That's his philosophy and mentality, and I really appreciate that. One of the other things that he wants to keep in mind, if it's not opposed to your goals and desires, is he does want to have some designs that are, timeless and will, still be current in another 5 years. So you don't have to buy furniture again when the design trends of the times change. Now, of course, if you want something that's a little bit more in now, but might be more of a fad and be out in 5 to 10 years, and you want to change the furniture, more power to you. He'll do whatever you're looking for. Obviously, again, it's your space, and that's the most important thing when working with him. So it was a good experience, walk around the house and having him understand what we're looking for. The next step with working with Luis in particular, at least for my experience, and again, this can be customized based on your timeline, your availability, and things like this. But we went to the store CB2 in Philadelphia, and we walked around the store. He pointed things out to me, got my opinion on preferences and colors and tastes, and it was really helpful to see things in person. Of course, in a showroom you're not going to have everything that your designer would want in person to show you, but there's swatches and fabrics available so you can feel it, touch it, sit on it maybe if they have something in a similar fabric, but maybe just different style if it's not available. And that was really helpful for me, because you don't want to get a bunch of furniture and send it back. Although, spoiler alert, we did that as well for some of the things. And that's, part of the process, which working with CB2 is actually really great experience for the most part, and getting things picked up and whatnot. And I'll talk more about that process. But anyway, while we're at the store, just going through some of the designs, he had his iPad with him and all the designs that he was thinking, so he could show me in the store what the design was that he had in mind, what particular furniture pieces or decor, styling, etc. he was thinking. And then we started walking around the store, and he was again showing me the fabrics, and I was actually sitting on them and to see, okay, do I like this? Is this going to be a good fit for me and my family? Do I like the aesthetic? Do I like the functionality and whatnot? Overall, really good experience working with him, and particularly with CB2. CB2 is, if you're not aware, it's related to or owned by the same company that owns Crate and Barrel. So you could order all of your stuff through one store, but they could still add it from Crate and Barrel. So CB2 system could order stuff from Crate and Barrel and have it all shipped on the same truck, because it comes from the same warehouse. Again, they're all owned by the same company. So really good experience working with him in the store. Without actually being in the store, I think it's really difficult. But again, if you can't be there because your schedule doesn't allow, and you have a good understanding of what you want, and you hire Luis, I think he'll do a good job for you, even if you can't get into the store. But if you can, definitely recommend being on site so you can see, experience, and really understand if those particular items are a good fit for you or not. Now, at this point in the video, you might be wondering, why didn't I start with moving companies? Especially if you are moving here, that's probably one of the first things that's on your mind, right? Well, I kind of already alluded to this earlier, I guess, why I didn't. But if you are going to move here and get rid of all your furniture, sell it, donate it, whatever, where you're at currently, then the movers aren't necessarily as critical, right? Obviously, you're still going to move stuff, right? You're not getting rid of all your clothing and whatnot. But it just becomes a little bit less important. So that's why I started with interior styling and designing. But we will talk about movers later on in this series. Moving companies are unfortunately going to be hit or miss, sort of regardless, but we'll talk about some good ones in the city. I should have noted this earlier in the video, but I forgot. When we hired Luis to do our designing, we didn't actually have him design the entire house. So you don't have to work with a designer to design everything, right? Like, for example, we didn't have him design our kids' rooms because what are you gonna design? I mean, they're a hot mess. And we did have organizers involved in their rooms, but there was really nothing to style or design for our kids' room, so we didn't have him do those particular rooms. We hired him to do the main level, which is the living room, kitchen, and the dining room floor, right? It's just that one open floor plan that you see, and the primary bedroom. So those are the two rooms that we contracted with Luis to help us. So obviously, if you need more than that, he's full service, but he can do smaller scopes if needed. So then after we walked through the store and I had a really good understanding of the design, then the next step was to actually go and order all the stuff. And Luis can do that for you, or you can do it yourself, just kind of depending on where it's being sourced from and how you want to control the process. Again, that's a consultation point that you'll talk to him about if you want to hire him in particular, or whatever designer that you're working for. And then you gotta wait, right? We had to wait about 7 days, I think, for all this stuff to be delivered. And then delivery day came, and then the movers came and brought a whole bunch of stuff into our house. Did a great job. We had a good experience with the first crew that came through, very effective, and did a good job not damaging the home or the furniture. Now, of course, whenever you're having furniture installed into your property, you need to make sure that it's the correct stuff. And either your designer, so Luis can do this for you. He can be on site and be contracted as a part of the services to be managing the installation if you'd like. That would be full service, naturally. But also, in case something is damaged, you ideally want to send it back right away. So CB2's policy is if you notice something that's damaged or you just don't want something in particular because you see it in person maybe for the first time, you're like, wow, that's ugly, or this is not going to fit the space. I thought it would, but it's too, whatever. You can tell them right then and there before they leave, I don't want it, I'm going to reject this, send it back to the warehouse. And then you, of course, get a refund for that, but you don't get charged to send it back. So if you order a bunch of stuff, like half of it, send half of it back, they're not going to charge you or deduct a delivery fee for sending it back. You will be charged a delivery fee for having it delivered, but it's essentially nominal. And if you wait until the delivery service leaves, and then you still have a period of time to send it back, I believe it was 7 days for CB2, you can still send it back and get refunded, but they charge you a delivery fee to pick up the items. So it's one of the benefits to have your designer on site, or if you have the time to thoroughly check everything, make sure you're good with it before the delivery company leaves, so you can send it back. It's not a big delivery fee. I think it was like $300 to get stuff picked up later. So not a big deal at all, of course. If you want to work with him, I'll link all of his contact info in the description below. So you can just scroll down below at the end of this video, take a look at his Instagram channel, or shoot him an email or call, whatever's easiest for you. But a good experience. Again, the reason I'm making this video is to tell about my experience and to really show you guys and explain my experience working with local Philadelphia-based professionals to help the moving process just go smoother, right? Be more enjoyable. Now you may be thinking to yourself, why would I use a designer? I'm good at design. I'm just gonna do everything myself. What if I don't like their designs, right? And I get it, right? All of us are picky in particular, right? But if you're working with a good designer, they'll be able to still flesh out your particulars. But the reality as well is that you don't have to use their design if you don't like it all, right? Like you could say, hey, I don't really like this, that, and the other, let's modify it. Or I just want these things that you recommend and I'm gonna take care of the rest. That's, fine. Obviously, it's your house, it's your design, right? You gotta live with it. But also, even if you have everything, if you like the design on paper and you say, hey, do it all, get it installed into my house, and then that happens and you're still not happy, for example, with, I don't know, the particular sofa piece or artwork or whatever, again, you could always change it and, add your little flair here or there. So I think working with a designer, even if you're not thrilled with everything, because again, I get it. Some of us are very particular, right? And I'm one of those people. There might be particular things we're like, all right, I might do that a little bit differently, which is okay, right? The purpose of working with a stylist is to really get good inspiration and to be happy with your home. So even if they only get you 85% of the way there, right? Like that still was a significant savings of time and coming up with those ideas that maybe you wouldn't have on your own, right? Like maybe you wouldn't have found those on Pinterest or inspiration boards, right? So even if it's not 110% a slam dunk home run, right? It's still, I think, worth going down that route and hiring a stylist and a designer. All right, so this is what everything looked like once it was finalized as far as the design. But I should say there are a couple of things that are still missing here. We just wanted to get this up for you guys. So we're missing a TV on the wall here, as you can see, so that will be there. And then this painting needs a frame around it. We were kind of testing out, does it actually need a frame? I think it would probably look better with a frame, as you guys probably agree, maybe. But so it's not perfect, not 100% there, but it's, quite far along, and we're happy with the process and what it looks like so far and being able to enjoy the designs that Luis helped us accomplish in our home. If you want to learn more about Luis in particular, I actually did a full hour podcast with him and talking about his experience growing up in Mexico City and going to New York City from there, and then eventually relocating to the Center City Philadelphia area. So if you're looking to work with him or just curious more about people's experiences having relocated here to Philadelphia, that is, from other cities like New York City, for example, then this podcast, I think, think would be really helpful for you to click on, check it out, and enjoy. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.